investigation on the House Intelligence Committee. Let's find out. Democratic Congresswoman Jackie Speier, she is joining me now. She, of course, sits on the House Intelligence Committee. Congresswoman, thank you so much for the time. I know you guys will be gathering in just a few minutes. I want to talk about these new developments today, if we could, with regard to intel. They're important. You've got Carter Page, as Jessica just laid out. He has offered to testify before your committee. But with this news out now that he passed information to an alleged Russian operative, this came from that FBI court filing against the alleged Russian operative. When do you think the committee is going to interview him? Does this news concern you?
Well, the news, of course, concerns us. I mean, it's the plot thickening, without a doubt. And what's deeply troubling to me is that all the inner circle of then-candidate Trump had connections with Russia. And even now, the Russia connection is so much stronger within the White House than the connection is with our allies throughout Europe, where we need to be solidifying those relationships along with NATO and the EU. So Carter Page is one of the individuals we will want to interview. But as we keep seeing, this trickle of new information is very important, and I have no interest in interviewing him until we have as much information as possible to query him about.
So it is important to note that this all happened with regard to Carter Page back in 2013. This, of course, is years before there was a Trump campaign. Does that change anything for you? That's an important timestamp.
Well, yes, but then you add that, you connect the dots. He was in Russia giving a speech at a college bad-mouthing the United States in 2016. In December of 2016, he was again in Russia when it was announced that Rosneft, the biggest oil and gas producer in Russia, was giving 19% of the company to a third party. There's been talk that Carter Page was one of the recipients of that 19%. Again, that comes from Christopher Steele, who...
So with all of these various threads, if you will, Congresswoman, do you have a date yet when you are going to interview Carter Page?
We have not yet developed the schedule for all of the persons that will be interviewed. There'll be a series of depositions. There will be hearings. The question we're going to have to negotiate with the chair is how many will be open and how many will be closed.
So this new element from the Washington Post then about Eric Prince, as Jessica laid out, with a meeting in the Seychelles in January. He has connections. He was a big donor to the Trump campaign. He's the brother of Donald Trump's education secretary, Betsy DeVos. Is he on the committee's witness list?
I'm not aware of him being on the witness list, but I don't necessarily have access to a comprehensive list at this point.
From what you hear, I know Democrats submitted a list of witnesses that they were hoping for. Was he on that list?
I can't say. But I can say that the fact that this has come forward is something that will certainly inform our decisions as to additional people who should be interviewed. This investigation is going to go on for some period of time.
That seems clear. Susan Rice, also, the third development, Congresswoman, there's a lot today, reports that she, of course, is President Obama's former national security advisor. The reports that she put in a request and unmasked names of Trump associates. Do you see a problem there?
Well, first of all, it's important to appreciate when there's a request to unmask, whether it's the National Security Advisor or the FBI, it has to go through a process. It is unmasked only for that specific individual. It's not opened up to everybody, and it can only be unmasked if it is consistent with protecting our national security.
Do you think it's worthy of investigating, though?
Well, is it worthy? I mean, I guess you'd have to go back and look at all the national security advisors and see how many unmaskings have gone on. It's really irrelevant to what we're charged with doing. And this is, yet again, another example of how the president and those who are supporting his particular position want us not to do this investigation into the Russia connections with his campaign and the Russian infiltration in our election. That's where we need to be focused.
John McCain said it would come down to, it would matter in his mind if there was a political motivation for her putting in these requests for unmasking. Would you agree?
Well, I think the question has to be, was there a national security reason for unmasking? And that's always the first and primary question that has to be asked. And again, as National Security Advisor to any president, you're going to be in a position to unmask, I suppose, more so than someone else. But again, we don't even know about the length and breadth of this. This is something that came out of thin air, another deflection of what our real charge and responsibility should be. And that is investigating the Russia connection to the Trump campaign and their infiltration into our elections.
Well, that gets to kind of what brought this committee to a screeching halt in the past couple weeks. It had to do with Chairman Nunes, with important surveillance information that he said that he had, that he did not tell the committee about, and he went to brief the president about. The full committee is meeting together in moments. Are you going to see that surveillance information that Chairman Nunes briefed the president on 2 weeks ago?
So we now have, as a committee, access to that information. We're going to have to go elsewhere to view it. I haven't had the opportunity yet to do it. The staff has, and they will be briefing us on it.
If the staff has seen it, does it raise concerns in your mind? Can you give us any window into what the staff has seen?
Well, if you recall, it was Ranking Member Schiff who did actually view the documents, who said that it has nothing to do with our investigation, that in fact everything he saw had masked names. So again, it is trying to change the topic. It's trying to deflect our focus on what we really need to be doing. And I'm just not going to be subject to that. And I think, frankly, the media needs to continue to focus on what's important here. What is Russia doing in our country? Why are they infiltrating us? Why are they undermining our democracy? Why are they undermining the European Union and the alliance? It's for obvious reasons. They want to become the superpower in the world. There is a reason why they are an adversary, and we need to keep that in mind.
I know you need to go, but I do want to get your gut. I mean, if this committee broke down over the last 2 weeks. The committee is finally getting back to full meetings. With all due respect, after it broke down, should the American people trust anything that's coming out of your committee going forward?
You know, that's a very good question, and I'm not prepared at this point in time to answer it, but I will be one of the first to say that this committee is irrelevant if, in fact, it's going to follow a political roadmap, because that's not what we've been charged to do.
Congresswoman Jackie Speier, I know you have to go. Thanks so much for your time.